Hey everybody, welcome back to Reaper Pro Tips with me, your host, Anne, and Disembodied Hands, Quindy and Justin, and every once in a while, John. How are you all? Hopefully not too erratic on this Wednesday, middle of the week. Miniatures Den. Luca was stalking us, guys. Look at that. Look at that fat raid. Like, totally. Thank you, Luca. I haven't even started. People are looking at my silly face. Let's not look at my silly face. Let's look at my silly wyvern. Hey everybody, welcome to the show. I just actually hit it, so like you missed my intro. Hi, welcome to Reaper Pro Tips. This is me, Anne, and, you know, our other co-hosts, Quindy and Justin. How are y'all? Jedi Jared with the Prime, 27 months. He's been our friend forever. Like, forever. That might be the longest sub. You and, like, D. Clearman, Jedi Jared. Like, I think you've been here forever. Like, since I was really boring. Yeah, shout out Miniatures Den for sure. Like, he needs it. Everybody knows that Luca is awesome, and the Alpaca clan is always welcome here. All right, I'm gonna whip out my colors because, you know, we're doing this wyvern thing, and we're doing a lot of scales. Here, let me get actually in focus. This model is big enough that the camera is like, I don't know where to focus. There we go. Got some wyvern. Let's back out so that people can actually see Mr. Wyvern. Did a lot of stripy things on his wings, and we're just finishing up kind of the scale patterns at this point, and then we can do the basing, which is really cool. Sculpted by our own Julie Guthrie, and she's got the wyvern actually standing on a ruined statue, so it's actually pretty cool basing. And there they are, green users in chat is Julie, who sculpted this wyvern, and Bob. Julie Guthrie and Bob Rodolfi. Legends in the miniatures world. That's what you get when you come in during my intro, Julie. You get extra punch. Alrighty, so we're using some earthy colors on this. We're not using straight reds and oranges. Because wyverns are supposed to be a bit more like earth-toned, like red-browned. But I wanted to make him a little more exciting than that. So we went with a slightly more saturated colors, but that still equate to kind of a reddish brown. Mahogany brown is actually a very, very red color. It's equivalent, for those of you who have been around since forever, to the old Reaper Pro Paints Aged Red Brick, which was one of my favorite colors they ever put out, which is kind of a maroon, an intense maroon color. Hello, good morning, everybody. Welcome. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So we're going to do some scales today. We're going to actually try to be pretty fast about finishing up the scales here. Because we still want to do, I still have to figure out what color his little poison sac here is going to be and finish the horns on the other side of the tail. So there's like little claws and stuff that we have to do on him yet. But yeah, he's getting there. He's getting there. Wyvern is dangerously close to done. There, that's actually a good angle. You can actually see the scales that I want to work on. But yeah, happy Wednesday. Yeah, poof! Green users is like Beetlejuice. And I don't even have to say it 3 times. Oh, and our shadow color is a very cool color you can get in the Fast palette from, I forget if it's like the piratey themed one. Help, Quindy, help. It's not Surf and Turf, because then it would be a Shrimp and Beef Fast palette, and that would be really weird. What is it? What is the Fast palette that Kraken Ink is in? High Seas Horror, thank you. I just think Surf and Turf. I don't know. So yeah, we're using this awesome, like, dark purple. As you can see, that's what the accents are on the wyvern. I wanted to go darker, and I wanted to have also a color I could use as a shading color for the dark red and orangey colors, and the purple actually works really well because it doesn't have any black in it. Despite its dark color, the dark color is only done with blue pigment, so this is a really versatile color. Whenever you have a color without black in it, it opens you up to like a lot more uses because you don't have to worry about things getting dirty or ashy when you mix it or use it as a shader. Surf and Turf Fast palette. It sounds like a sushi tray, right? A lunch sushi tray with, like, you know, shrimp and then like really tasty like beef sushi. Beef sushi. Anyway, yes. See, everybody will now vote for Surf and Turf for the palette. Except that I don't know that there are land-based things in the palette. I'd have to go look at the other colors because I have them all separate. So I mean, I guess if it has shark bite in it, it also has shark sushi, which is a thing. So, you know, you've got your squid sushi with your kraken, and then your shark sushi with shark bite. I don't know what the other colors are, though. I mean, I suppose if treasure map is in there, then it could be like that rice paper, right? So there you go. We're getting there, guys. We got half of it already. Oh my. All right, it's one of those days I should have worn my squirrel shirt after all, right? Is that what we're saying? Squirrel. Anne's in a squirrel mood. I actually thought about my squirrel shirt today, and I'm like, no, I have better focus than that. Little did I know. All right, so we've got our, we've been using kind of a limited palette approach on this model. So we've been mostly using Kraken ink for any dark we need, any black we need. Although I did focus in, I did use some walnut for the tail and horn bits. But other than that, we've been staying pretty in palette, and our white has been Osirian Sand, which is a wonderful Pathfinder color that I really like. That's kind of like an icy yellow from Vallejo, but it's a little bit more ochre maybe. It's not quite as cold and greenish. So I find it very, very versatile. It's a nice pop when you want like kind of a creamy ivory color that's not too ochre, that has a little bit more yellowy to it. Oh yeah, Chum Red. But I don't know, it doesn't matter really what they are. I like it. Yeah, Chum Red could be any form of beef, really. Perfect. Oh yeah, try that pearl white out for highlighting your metallics, Gray Mouser, for sure. All right. Yeah. Good. I like it. I like that I'm selling my Osirian Sand. I really, really like it for my off-white. Whenever I need an off-white that's like not as gray as bleached linen, like when I need one that's more yellowy, I go with Osirian Sand. So yeah. It's kind of taken over the slot that Creamy Ivory had, unless I am doing like bone, in which case I kind of go toward Creamy Ivory, but here with our limited palette, I've been sticking with Osirian. So it really varies. I mean, on this show, every once in a while, I do like to do limited palette painting, where we stick to a particular variety of colors and we try to mix everything, so... Hey, Dragonessa. Hello. All right, so now we've got our colors out, and we know that we're working mostly with our reds and orange highlights today, but we still want to mix up our shadow color because these scales have a little bit of shading on them, but they don't have like the full treatment. So I want to have my Kraken ink dark purple for shading those scales, so we can get them looking awesome like they do on the other side. I'm pretty organized this week. I'm pretty happy so far with how my week is turning out. I hope that the rest of you are as well. We have pretty big news coming up this weekend, so I'll share on Monday. It's just personal Anne and David news. Some of you already know it. Be quiet if you do. I shared with my fans over on my personal Twitch channel. But if everything goes well, because I don't want to jinx it, I'll have a personal announcement on Monday. Oh, disorganized while on vacation? Yeah. Oh, good. Good. Glad to know it, War Shadow. Yeah, I hope you like the Da Vinci's. I find them very superior brushes. Like, I am a Da Vinci brush fangirl. I will admit it. I do like my Raphael a lot, too. Like, my Raphael's for the bigger brushes. But, so I'm going to put a little bit of this mahogany brown. Let's just show my palette here. We're mixing stuff up. So you can see that actually this orange brown is actually quite bright orange. They're freehand, Tabitha. Yeah, the video on how to do them is probably in our YouTube, our Reaper YouTube. Because you can always look back. You can always look up Wyvern by like his item number, 77688, which is pretty easy to remember. And Wyvern. That's why I always have the little card around so I can show you. And you can go and watch. I did the wings pretty early. It was one of the first things we did. So, chances are. Yeah, I mean, we made a couple of blorfy things, I think, on the wings. Just a little bit. It's a little bit darker on one side. But all things considered, I wanted a Wyvern that had some pop. So, I did not want a boring Wyvern. Hey, Inara. Good to see ya. Alrighty. I think it's going to be a really good day today. What do you guys? I hope you guys have a really good day too. Some of you are at the end of your day, if you're in Europe, and I hope that you had a really good day. But I think today will be fabulous. I am out to have a fabulous day today. I am all in. Yeah, definitely go check it out. I mean, Quindy might even be able to find it for you. We'll see. She's probably looking. She might give you a direct link so that you can click and keep it in your browser. Bones 5 order. Woo! Crows! Were you one of the ones getting one of those, like, 15 million pound, like, they had to bring it in on a giant truck mega orders? Like, you don't know, you have to build an addition onto your house to make room for it? Is that you? Oh, there we go. Quindy with the link. So, Tabitha, there we go. You've got a link directly to the video now. Just click it, save it in your browser, and you can go watch it whenever you have time. Because Quindy is awesome that way. Our Quindy is very... 28. Oh, okay. I was going to say, somebody got a 56 yesterday. Was it Rax? I don't remember. I'm going to start with a 4-to-1. More or less. 4-to-1 paint to water. A couple of these are actually 5-droppers, though. So, 5-to-1. Actually, just given that, I should probably put an extra one in and make them 5-to-2. Just because I know, when you're going up in your highlighting colors, guys, always add a little bit more water. Because you're inevitably going up with paints that have a little bit of white in them. Even though this is a pretty bright orange, it does have a bit of white in it. So, you always want to, that's such a pretty color. I just look at that color and I think of, like, cinnamon or something. I don't know. I was thinking about, I need to figure out a way to use that color. I bet it'd be a great highlighter for, like, a dark brown. There we go. There's our very, very nice mahogany brown, which really ought to be called mahogany red, but you know. Crow's got it. I knew I was remembering something. All is shiny, Rascal. All is shiny. I am out to have a great day today. I hope you are too. Yeah, Super Quindy is super for sure. It's like Long Cat is long. Super Quindy is super. Squee. There we go. There's the squee. Obliga squee for receiving bones. That should be almost everybody. Like, is there anybody in my chat who ordered Bones 5 who hasn't gotten it yet? Like, I don't see a lot of people bemoaning not having their bones anymore. Ooh, yummy. Cordico, you're such a good, like, gardener. I aspire. I used to have a black thumb, did I tell you that? And now I'm growing things, more or less. I could improve. It would help if we had an actual yard. But I aspire, like, to be Cornico level of gardener. 5.5 release. Well, yeah, 5.5, but I mean... Right. Okay, so anybody in EU and Australia is still working on it. I just haven't seen anybody in my chat who's been like, oh no, I still don't have mine. I haven't seen that for a while. Alright, so here's our palette. I'm going to start with like my orange and see if it's light enough to start the tail. We'll just experiment on the tail. Always experiment on a section that is not like right out in front of your viewers, guys. That way, if you blurf it up or you don't like it, nobody sees it. You can easily correct it. And if it turns out looking a little wonky, nobody will see it. But yeah, I totally aspire to a Cornico level of gardening. We got our little compost pail, Cornico, but I haven't gone over to the Denton City website, or not Denton. Haha, I lived there so long. Woo, Denton has infected my head. Denton, Texas, home of happiness. Anyway, I haven't gone over to the Mountain View City website to see if we can pick up compost after we compost. Right now, I don't know what we would use it for, as we only have potted plants, but it may change in the future. Alright, so I'm going to get a little closer here, guys, so you can see kind of the level I'm starting going up at. So there's those little orangey lines. Let me get in... There we go, we're in focus. You're so sad, Viman Aqua? Oh wow, you're dedicated, Crowley. Really good for you. We, our complex, our apartment complex just started. And it's a new program here in Mountain View to have multifamily complexes be able to do composting. So they're experimenting, and you could get your bucket yesterday, and they've got a thing to empty it into, and they've got biodegradable bags, or not biodegradable, sorry, compostable bags. Things like that. It's actually pretty cool. Sometimes I enjoy all the little things here that they do to try to be more green. Alright, so as we got to these little, these ones here that are a little bit darker, I only have red on the edges, we shortened up. And I think I might have gone a little bit too much, yeah, on that one, yep. I need to darken down this last one. I went over the purple shadow. You can see it. Yeah, Twisted Oma. Dedication. Yeah, the ship is just very, very large. Like, I knew that there was no way. I didn't, for one thing, I'm not running a game, and I don't have a good display area for it, so I'm just like, alright, pirate ship is not in my cards. Because we have such a small place, relatively speaking. But if I had, like, if I was planning to run, like, a seagoing game, like, oh yeah, totally, pirate ship. Alright, this is washing out everything, so I'm gonna pop it away. Also, the wing is, like, casting a big shadow. So one thing we haven't done is we haven't put our shadow in to separate out these nice little tail sections, so we'll get our Kraken ink and do that. It's thinned about 4:1. You could get away with not thinning Kraken ink as much because, one, it's a little more transparent of a color, so you can work with it a little thicker. You'll still get a decent blend. And you can also, see, there it is. And also the fact that it's actually not that much darker than the mahogany when it dries. So the closer two colors are together, the thicker you can keep them and still get kind of a blended effect. And if the darkest one is very, very transparent, that helps. Because that means any little bit that you thin it is going to kind of work with you and give you that nice blended shadow. That's funny, Crows. Oh, nice. So you remodeled your house for Bones 5, Miss Imp. You get the dedication. I know it probably wasn't for Bones 5, but that's what it sounded like, so that's totally what you should do for the comedy, and also for the fan points. Like, that should get you, like, extra Reaper fan points. Hey, Reaper, I remodeled my house to fit Bones 5. Like, extra credit. Brownie points with Reaper. Everybody remember, Miss Imp is hardcore. Alright, let's see here. Just trying to get these. You can see how what a difference that makes, though, that shadow. And I haven't even, like, gotten up to the level of highlighting up here. I really need to get my shading in all over here. So I'm going to hold this where you guys can see it. First we thought replacing the carpet was going to be enough for our bones so that they wouldn't get lost. But then we realized we really needed at least another 600 square feet of space, so we ripped out their walls. No, seriously. This needs to be a comedy narrative. The lengths that miniature gamers will go to keep investing in Kickstarters. Miniatures Kickstarters. Oh, speaking of which, I broke my moratorium on Kickstarter investment the other day, and I did pledge for the new Dungeons and Doggies. So that means I really need to use some Dungeons, and I need to paint some Dungeons and Doggies figures, which means you guys may see me actually pick up a couple of those on my private stream on Thursdays. I started the German Shepherd Druid and I didn't finish, so I should probably... And I really want to paint the Golden Retriever with the wizard hat. We have the friends here in our complex who have the bratty Golden Retriever puppy who is horribly misbehaved. Like, I was contemplating actually giving them the Golden Retriever when we moved, because they were sad that we were moving. They were nice people. I would totally... And Harvey, despite being a bratty Golden Retriever, is, like, still a really friendly dog. So I would totally bring a new puppy back here to, like, meet some of the dogs in this neighborhood. There are some very nicely... There are some brats, but there are some nicely behaved dogs in this neighborhood, too. All right, so we've got all that. See how what difference that shadow makes. You know, you think the red is plenty dark, but then you can add in a little bit of that purple and suddenly everything stands out really well. Yeah, the Samoyed is really cute. Yeah, that makes sense, Crows, if you really don't want it. I like the extra dogs. I like having extra options. And you know what? Someday I want to run that game. Like, someday. I don't know what group. It's way probably too cute and silly for David. But someday I will find a group, even if we only run, like, 3 or 4 sessions. And I want, like, only 3 people. 3 people who, like, are into it. And then every one of them plays 2 characters. Everyone creates a normal 5th edition character and an animal 5th edition character. And that way you get both. That way you don't have to choose. You can still have an animal. You can still have humans to do things that, like, animals have a hard time with, but you can, and I like the idea of the human-animal partnership. So you totally create your human, and then you create your animal buddy. And you make up the story of how you found each other. I think that could be super fun. They're so tiny. Yeah, that's the problem I have with the Cats and Catacombs stuff, Kariniko. It's why I didn't actually invest in CNC when it went live on Kickstarter, is that they just were so small. I mean, I like painting bigger stuff, as you all know, and so the dogs are, like, borderline. I can manage the dogs, although some of the tiny ones are, like, really challenging. But yeah, the cats are so little. Although, of course, I'll be getting some cats with the new one. I haven't told... Oh, it's David. It's only a brief David, though, and he's got headset on, which means he's actually working. He's working from home today. He chose to take a home day. His job is kind of like, you can split your week if you want. We're both more productive at the office, but he has some stuff to get done today. Or both more productive when he's at the office, I should say. Alright, so I just wanted to get some shadows in. So you can see, just painting in. And again, because this purple is not so much darker than this red, I can get away with using it almost full strength for shading. So I don't really have to build it up at all. Just if I needed a microscope. Yeah, I'm thinking that the scale, yeah, they do say, I think I read, Miss Imp, that they say a little bit that awakened animals are a little bit bigger sometimes. And that makes sense to me. Than their regular counterparts, I mean. So I'm past caring about scale and miniatures. What I want is a cool figure. We have a ton of corgis in this neighborhood. So a ton of corgis, a ton of Shiba Inus, many doges of many different colors. And a bunch of golden retrievers. But there are a lot of corgis. My favorite corgi, and I don't know, I haven't actually met this corgi, so I don't know its name. But we have a fountain in the middle of our complex, and it has it's a round fountain, big rock formation in the middle, you know. It's got this big round rim, you know, that it has a pool, you know, and that's the round rim. The round rim is just wide enough for you to, like, sit cross-legged on, or for a madly excited corgi to run full speed on as it runs around the fountain snapping at the water. So there's this corgi that loves to get up on that, and their owner's like, it will jump until its owners put it on the rim of the fountain, and then it will run like a mad dog in circles trying to snap at the water. Like, it's his favorite game, obviously. Oh, was the corgi really small? Yeah, that is disappointing. Then the chihuahua has to be a mega chihuahua. But was the corgi in scale, like, for, like, respect to the other breeds? I don't know. As long as it's a corgi. I guess if it's small, the problem is that it is more challenging to paint. So I totally get that. Alright, so mostly under the wing here, guys, see how I just blocked in a shadow there? I'm gonna block in that shadow because there's really no light under here. Like, the reason that's so hard to see is just because, well, it's all in shadow. So instead of putting any highlights there, I'm just gonna work with my red and my Kraken ink to establish masses of light and dark. And there's just a little bit of highlight out here because that's where the hole in the wing is. So you would start seeing light pick up there. But all of that, the inner thigh would have some light, as you can see. But the outer really doesn't. So all we have to do here is decide if we're going to pick out these little thorny bits here on the leg, which I think we will. Oh no! Shibas are bratty and cute. So bratty. Like I would want one. My ex's sister had two, and one of them I really loved, but oh my gosh, they are such cat dogs. Like, if you like cats and you think you might want a dog if it was very cat-like, Shiba is a breed for you. They are such cats. So cats. Much feline. Oh, trolls are raiding. Hi, Trollhole. Welcome. Thank you for the raid. Awesome. Shout out to you guys. Oh, Warhammer. Cool. Yeah, we paint... This is Reaper's channel, so I paint Reaper, so usually Dungeons and Dragons type miniatures. Today we're working on our Wyvern, who's almost done. Rawr. We have cool here. Let me back out. I was all zoomed in so people could see, but Wyvern has cool stripy wings. Whoa, camera. Easy camera. There we go. Much better Wyvern shot. So we have to work on some shading and highlighting on the red scales today. And I need to do some bone probably to make the sides match. And then I figure out what color the venomous venom sac is. Yeah, I have that book about the domestication of the foxes in Russia. It is a fascinating book if you're into genetics. And I am a fox person, so the problem is that they're like ferrets. They have scent glands, and so they are smelly. Oh, you paint Reaper stuff? Good, Trollhole. Awesome. Well then, fantastic. I mean, it would still be fantastic if you were doing Warhammer. Don't get me wrong. Like, just Warhammer. I worked for Games Workshop for a while when I was younger. I still have my Eldar army, although I haven't touched it for a while because I moved away from my gaming group and then COVID hit. I think that's the story for a lot of us. Although now that I heard this rumor that they're bringing back old fantasy, like classic fantasy, that was my first GW game, so I was like, might have to actually start up something and hang out at the local store or something. Totally become like the nerd that I always was, like rebooted. In Soviet Russia, it rains cats and fox. You're funny. But seriously, if you're at all interested in foxes or genetics, that book is really well written, and it's not terribly it's written for lay people. It does talk about genetics, but it doesn't like go crazy. Like you don't end up with your brain exploding or anything. Oh, cool! Huge diorama with loads of Legends minis. That sounds really cool. Yeah. Have you ever been to ReaperCon, Trollhole? Or are you out of country? I'm just doing some orangey highlights on parts of the Wyvern that I think would... the part of this leg that would actually stick out and get some light. You can see it there. War Shadow just is merciless today with the puns. I take take everything seriously. I never assume that you're joking, which is, you know, how people typically have fun with Anne. But sometimes you learn weird things because Anne knows a lot of weird miscellaneous things. So I don't remember if you actually can legally import a fox from Russia. You could for a while. Oh, you're in the UK. Okay. Ah, yeah. Yep. Yeah, that was when we just built the new factory in 2004. I know because I started working for Reaper in 2003. So that I'm on my 18th year of working for Reaper. Which, as I always say, is a testament to how awesome the company is. But yeah, that was, we just had built the new factory. And now our factory is expanding exponentially. Because, yeah, I know, a long work anniversary, right? I also have the best work anniversary ever, Trollhole. It's April 1st. When you show up at your new job as a miniature painter for a miniatures company on April Fool's Day, and you are really wondering if they're going to just look at you and say, oh, we didn't mean it. April Fools. Or if they're going to, like, take advantage of the serendipity of the holiday to fire you every year. They never did. I was always astonished. Yeah, this is, thanks, Jan Brem, probably, right? Or Brame, I don't remember. I actually had a classmate with your last name when I was growing up, and I think they were Brem, but they mentioned it had been pronounced differently. So yeah, this is, and it's actually a wyvern. I mean, Reaper calls it a wyvern because it's got, you know, two paws. But if you're George R.R. Martin, you could just call it a small dragon and be done with it. So, here. But I'm glad you like it. We decided to use just some different colors. We based the color scheme on some concept art we found online. And then modified it. Okay, cool. Yeah. Oh, the Corgi Queen. Yeah, yeah. Sorry, we were talking Dungeons and Doggies a bit ago. Because I just went in on the new Kickstarter. Because I really like adventuring animals. I really like the otter on the new one, and I really like the orangutan, and I like the ram. I love the ram paladin. That's gonna be fun. Is the key pronunciation? Cool. Hey, I remembered something from my childhood. What? I thought I gave up all... My brain RAM gave up all that. Although I suppose, no, that's what they say is, like, you remember everything. Like, you remember your street address as a kid, but you don't remember, like, what you ate last, you know, Tuesday. So it's like, your brain RAM gets more and more selective as you get older. It's just like, why are we keeping all this stuff around? Oh, but you're going to remember your childhood phone number forever. Yeah. Sorry, just catching up. Alright, making sure I didn't miss any questions, because people just been kind of zoning out today. Today is Wednesday. Everybody's just trying to get through the week. Alright, so we've totally neglected the underside of the tail. Who looks under a wyvern's tail? Anyway, only very brave people, but we'll go there. I am at least going to shade and highlight it because it is curling up and around, so it does need shades and highlight. Thank you! 21 months with a Prime sub, indeed. Impressive. HM Road Dog. The whole German thing. Right, right. Yeah, my maiden name is Fairster. F-O-E-R-S-T-E-R. Brem. Jan. So, yeah, I totally get the German pronunciations. Of course, my family pronounces it, in this country, Forster. Which always confuses people because the OE. Like, they just don't know how to deal with it. Oh, lunchtime. Tasty, Rax. Have fun. Oh, yeah, Tristoma. They are tiny. Well, I'm going to see what I can do. I would recommend underpainting those suckers, guys. Remember what the black and white thing, or the walnut brown and white thing, where you bring out fine details? Those of you on my Patreon would know this. And hey, I've got a Patreon. Ta-da! The segue. But seriously, I have a Patreon. It's called, it's patreon.com/paintingbig, because I do like to paint big things. However, I do paint a lot of little on there as well. I use a lot of 28mm as examples as well. I try to mix it up. And we do a lot of things about MSP paint. So if you're interested in our paint line, my Patreon has a lot of info, especially in the $5 tier. So yeah, patreon.com/paintingbig. Thank you to all of you who are already subscribed to my Patreon. It keeps me going, literally, and it makes me happy every day. Thank you. I appreciate your support more than I can ever say. I could not have my current life, my current awesome life, without you. You are enabling my awesome life, everyone. Yay! So we're just bringing in some of the spiky strokes, just like we did over here, to kind of suggest that the wyvern is spiny. Thank you for the link, Quindy. Hey, Gallifire, I'm doing good. Today is an awesome day. This week is generally an awesome week, actually. I'm getting all my Patreon stuff done, like, a little bit early, and it feels great. Because usually things have happened to disrupt my month, and so it puts me behind. But we didn't have any parental visitations or other weird disruptions this month. And David went back to the office, so I didn't have a home distraction for most of the month. So I actually, I was really good and efficient this month. And so instead of like freaking out and sliding into the end of the month, I'm actually like doing well, which makes a big difference. I've been very orderly. I've been a very orderly Anne. Hey, Agent Marvel. You are in search of a ship hippogriff front. Did you order one and not get it, or did you want one and didn't get it, Rax? And isn't it a hippocampus? Or are you looking for a conversion? Yeah. I'm sorry to hear that when companies do that too. Having worked for a company with excellent customer service for so long, because Reaper has a well-deserved rep for excellent customer service. Everybody please thank Adrian and Katie. And anybody else who they've added. Since I haven't been actually working in the shop for over a year, I don't know if it's still just mostly Adrian and Katie who are doing the customer support line. Oh, I have a brain sieve too. It's huge. Like, the stuff that drops out of my brain every day. It was when I was so horrified, like, when I heard the statistics behind memory and that we forget 50% of what we've just learned in the first, like, 5 minutes after learning it. This is why I re-listen to all my audiobooks. And I think after 15 minutes or 10 minutes, you've lost like 70% of it. It's just so sad. All these things we try to like learn to, you know, improve ourselves and become better people. And it really just all drops out of our brain. Unless you like use mnemonics and things to specifically remember it. But who does that when they're listening to a 10-hour audiobook? The best I can do is take notes if it's a really interesting or useful thing. All right, so we've got that highlighted. Oh no! Oh, that's terrible, J.M. Brum. I'm so sorry. Yeah. Babies are like dogs. You like get super worried about them because, oh my gosh, something's wrong, and then they, you know, are just like shrug it off, and you're like, what? I couldn't shrug that off, what? I think sometimes babies and dogs are partially made of rubber. But yeah, I'm really happy that the baby's okay. Yeah, I mean, my little brother, I remember when he was a baby, he, like, cracked his head open on the coffee table. We had a big mahogany coffee table. Yes, that is the title of the book, Pendrake. How to Tame a Fox and Build a Dog. They pretty much, that was a landmark study, like, that they actually had to do partially in secret because the Russian government turned kind of against science for a while there. But it proved that domestication could happen within decades instead of thousands of years. It also proved that there were genes for domestication that some animals just do not have in their genome. For instance, zebras. Good. Glad the baby's good. It's hard when you can't explain things. Like, that's why I always get so sad with my dogs when they had ailments, because they don't speak English, they don't understand it. You can't really explain to them that you're trying to help and all that. Same with babies. They're just like, this hurts, darn it, I don't feel good, rah. Kind of like what we all would like to do, but can't do at certain times in our lives. It's like, if only adults could, like, really throw a temper tantrum and then just be over it and go, all right, phew, that felt better. Just putting some of my bright orange highlights here on the edges, guys, just to bring out these scales, the details on them. Yeah, and yeah, they discovered that some of the traits that dogs have, domesticated dogs have, like the coloration and the floppy ears and the curly tails, seem to be inherited along with the domestication gene. So yeah, it's fascinating stuff. Like, for me, who was directly involved in, like, dog genetics, like, it's super fascinating. Like, when I was in school, I took some genetics classes, and they just had no clue about this. They were still teaching at that point that domestication took tens of thousands of years. So to find out that you can domesticate a species in mere decades is just like a huge... Imagine how fast that would have changed, like, the life of primitive people to be able to do that. Like, would have been a huge game changer. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, like I said, they're kind of made of rubber, but except when they aren't, right? So, and that's why we get our heart in our mouth when something bad happens to a baby animal or baby human. All right, let's make sure the wing is blocking. You guys see what I'm doing. Get these guys out. We did that leg. We need to do the interior on the legs. We need to do the top up there. I'm going to book it. I'm going to really get this stuff moving today. I will keep an eye on chat. Oh, and just for brush reference, we're using the DaVinci Maestro today because it's a good... this is a medium-sized detail, so a medium-sized but good point brush. I could probably use the Raphael for this. Especially because I'm using a little bit thicker paint. I'm not thinning my paint as much as I could. There we go. Now I've got it all hooked up. That's great. Still need to do the horns there, but we're good. Did that. Need to get to over here and up here. Let's do up here. Ooh. Come on, quit bluing. There we go. Alright, I want to get some shading in here. I need to touch up. You can see where I've gotten just a tiny bit of rub off on the scales. Somebody mentioned that earlier, Rex. Maybe it was you. I don't know, though. They act a lot like dogs when they get domesticated. Much more like dogs than like cats. Alrighty. I'm going to get in here with my Kraken ink and just line around these scales to make them stand out a little better. Since these are small, I definitely want to shade early instead of having to try to paint in shadows when I've highlighted these tiny things. When you've got little tiny areas, do try to get in your shading and lining a little bit beforehand, because trying to get back into those cracks and avoid going over the stuff that you've already done can be difficult. It's easier to just line these little scales beforehand. That way, if you make any blorps, all you have to do is go over it with the red. Absolutely paint before attaching the bowsprit. Yeah, makes sense, Miss Tim. Thanks. Makes sense. I did do a bit on the ship's figurehead. I did the Pirate Girl one, but if you want a, I forget, I think I did it on this show last year. But if you want a kind of a little tutorial on doing wood that's been painted and then it's worn off, that exists somewhere back in the ether of the Reaper YouTube channel. Again, just getting in there with my purple. Thanks, Gallo. Yeah, we found a piece of concept art online that kind of used something like this, and based it off of that. I like to find references and then kind of depart from them just a little bit, depending on what colors I have to hand and what I want to use. And what feels right to me. Yeah, that makes sense, Reimer. No, Bryce, I definitely do not need the ship. Not in this tiny apartment. And I'm not like, as I mentioned this earlier, but if I were running a pirate game or planning to run one, then totally, absolutely would have bought the ship. But I don't even have a D&D game right now. I don't even have a paint club right now. I'm so depressed. Like, I don't know. Maybe I need to get involved in the discussion for the Bay Area one. Because it seems like not much is happening. Maybe people just are uneasy about planning it. Or it's stuck because somebody isn't wanting to head it up and get her done, but I don't intend to run it, but I don't mind planning it. Yeah, we'd be really short on room space. Yeah, Nope, Dave. This is, okay, so this is not my own sculpt, but the person who did the sculpt did design miniatures, including dragons, for companies years and years ago. Green Users in the chat is Julie Guthrie and her partner Bob Rodolfi. And Julie has sculpted dragons and draconic people for Ral Partha and Grenadier, I think. Both, right, Julie? Ages and ages and ages ago. So this is a Julie Guthrie sculpt from Reaper. This is the Reaper YouTube. And Julie does J. Guthrie. You can barely see down there. Julie does a lot of our dragons and stuff. So, yeah, okay. I thought you worked for both. But yeah, so this is the Reaper channel, Dave. And so I always paint Reaper figures from various of our sculptors for this morning's show. We don't yet have a sculpting show. A lot of our sculptors do 3D now. I don't know if they've considered that or not. 3 ages ago. A lot of ages ago. A lot of what my age is. I don't want to... Let's not feel old. Julie Guthrie, yes. Yep, she's still here. She's green users in the chat right there, and she is still working and like doing ever more awesome stuff, Dave. If you haven't looked at Maldrakar from, I think, Bones 3, was it? Or Bones 2? Big 5-headed Imperial Dragon type guy. That's Julie as well. It's a monstrous thing, and it's gorgeous. One of my favorite dragons by her. But yeah, Julie still sculpts a lot of stuff for Reaper. Veteran, yes, indeed, veteran. Yeah, thanks, Jelly. Yes, we're blessed to have Julie and Bob in chat with us pretty much almost every day. Which is great, because then if I ever have a question about any of Julie's sculpts, she's like right there to ask. I do tend to paint a lot of Julie models on here because I'm kind of a fangirl, so. Alright, so now we want to shade probably a lot of this underside and only leave the red as a highlight since it's the underside of the Wyvern. So I'm going to block in a fair bit of purple in here and just leave the red at the edges until it starts to wrap up to the area where it would get more light on it. And then I can bring it up a little bit more. Yeah, if you remember. Oh, Mal is out of stock. I'm sorry. Shouldn't have promoted it. Oh no. Well, now you can go and look and wish you had one. I have an extra one. Hey, if it's out of stock, this is a good time for me to do a Maldrakar giveaway on my personal stream. I'll have to figure out how to do a giveaway. I've never done one. Because I do have an extra. Because I got the resin one after I had gotten the bones one. And I want to paint the no webpage, Dave, but if you go to Reaper's website, you'll be able to see, I think, like over the last 25 years. Not the really old stuff, but and isn't there is Stuff of Legends still online, guys? There is an old site, Dave, called Stuff of Legends. Richard, forget his last name. He's out in Virginia, I think. He used to run that. And it was a catalog of old models, kind of from Reaper, or not Reaper, Grenadier, Ralpartha, you know, from those old days. That he was just kind of, you know, making a record of for posterity. So if you go to the Stuff of Legends, you might be able to search Julie's name. If you go to the Reaper site, you can definitely use the search function to type in Julie Guthrie and find everything she's done for Reaper for the last, you know, oh, I don't know, while. Yeah, it might be solegends.com. I can't remember, but if you Google Stuff of Legends and miniatures, if that site is still alive, it used to be probably the best online catalog of older models ever. And Richard's collection was pretty darn incredible himself, as far as what he had painted and stuff. Oh, Lost Mini Wiki too? I hadn't heard of that one. Oh, that's right. Ironwind Metals too might have old Ralpartha stuff too, some of it. Because that's reborn Ralpartha. Anyway, that's all I know. That is my entirety of knowledge as far as where to find kind of catalogs of the old stuff, the old days online. I used to have old Ralpartha and Grenadier catalogs, but I gave them to Ron before I moved. Because Ron likes to have a kind of an archive thing of that old stuff. Ron at Reaper. So I think I gave him my old Partha catalog. and an old grenadier. So I didn't want to move them across the country. Because they were cool and all, but I wasn't doing anything with them. So trying to get some nice highlights coming up on the edges of these scales, right about in line with where the scales start curving up toward the light. And for these kind of big cupped scales, I won't do the spiky thing, but then I'll move into the more of the spiky thing as we did on the other side. Oh yeah! Okay, so it is solegends.com. Hasn't been updated since 2013. That's too bad, Quindy. Okay. Well, that's good to know about Lost Minis Wiki. I'll start promoting that one when people ask me. Yeah, I didn't know. I saw Richard recently, actually, at Adepticon, but I didn't ask him about the site or if he was still working on it. He looks like he was pretty busy, so maybe he lost time for it. Yeah. Yeah, I own all those, actually, Gallifire. I have all of the Rackham catalogs. And I think I might still have Werner Klock's original Freebooter full color catalog, and I keep the Rackham ones, because I still own a lot of Rackham models. And I like to be able to look up, like, which model it was. I own a lot of Wolfen. A lot of Wolfen, some Alchemists and Undead. Although I kind of did make myself swear that if I'm not going to paint them, I should get rid of them. So we'll see. Oh dear. I'm sorry, Nomad Zeke. I'm sorry about tech support. I'm sorry it exists for you and that you must help people with it. Deep breath. Go get yourself a tasty coffee or something, or drink of your choice that's legal at your work, and take a deep breath and a break. Best thing you can do when humanity just makes you want to slam your head against the desk. Take a walk outside in the nice fresh air. Remember that pretty trees are more important than silly people who don't know how to use software. Or hardware. Or anywhere. Remember that you are awesome. Signum reprinted some of the Wolfen. Yeah. I have originals that I've hung on to because I really do like the models. I'm a werewolf person, so I think they're really nice. I have some of the some random stuff too, like the Sphinx. I think I have the unicorn. I held on to a few that I really, really like from various... there's some really good character pieces, and I always tell myself I need to start painting them. But there are so many beautiful things to paint now. And we need to be able to create more time to paint. Just infinitely, hit a little button and just get an extra hour in the day to paint. I would like time to be organized like that, please. Alright, just getting these edges on the first layer. Oh, you should totally paint them, Kerniko. They are showing their age a bit. Nowadays, with all the crazy, beautiful sculpts out there, like, I think Rackham was still amazing for its time, but now, I mean, there's just so much, there's so many beautiful things. Yeah, I know, I feel that. Oh, I'm so sad that Enzo passed away. Oh no, that's horrible news, Quindy. Now I have a sad. I'll have to send Jason a note. It's always so heartbreaking when you lose them. I still miss Kiri every day. Alright, so bringing in the orange on the upper scales here. Let's get nice and centered. Yeah, it is super sad. Yeah, I feel that, Miss Imp. Yeah, poor Jason. Having had a dog recently pass, I'm just who really got to old dog age for her breed. I just makes me more determined when I get a new pup to really enjoy every day. Really enjoy every day that you have to spend with your animals while they're younger and in good health. And be happy that they're happy and healthy. And get taken care of so well by you. Like, I think about more, like, all the time that I should have appreciated more. Although we did have a lot of fun with Kiri on stream. But yeah, you just wait. When Kiri's great-great-granddaughter or son lands in my care, you guys are going to see so much puppy. There's going to be a lot of puppy. We're going to start every stream with puppy. Ah. Yeah, I'm trying to decide what we're going to do when we need to travel to cons. Like, if I want to get an in-home pet sitter for the new pup. Which is expensive, but probably worth it if you can find a good one. We used to kennel our dogs, and I just never quite was a fan. Unless you have like a local kennel where you know the people and you know the facility and you know your dog's gonna get excellent care. I just worry a lot when I'm out of town and my dog is in somebody else's care. Yeah. Totally dog father. Yeah, Shiloh puppy stream, yep. We'll do an introducing the puppy. We'll have to do that for sure. Introducing the new puppy stream. And I will try to get a puppy cam hooked up. Like, we'll see what I can do. May have to, like, draw on David's tech ability. I think I could just get a splitter and split it with my face cam. And get a puppy cam. There we go. Getting those spiny scales looking good. Gotta get this side. Gotta do the arm on this side. We're getting there though, guys. We're getting there. Hey, is it time to... Yeah, it's time to stretch. Here, let's pull this back. Take a look at it. Ah, it's looking so good. Look, guys, it's getting there. Like, it's almost. Like, we just need to get this arm done. And then a bit down here, but not too much because it's very much in shadow, so we don't want a lot of highlights down there. But like all of the everything you can see from above is almost done. Like we just want to get this little part. I don't yet, Pirates of Fortune's Folly. I have thought about getting a GoPro for puppy video. I want to do some like training videos because I'm involved with a dog club that's a Shiloh Shepherd dog club. So we got a YouTube, but nobody else on the board like understands technology. So I was thinking when I get a new puppy, that would be a great opportunity to do some videos on training your new puppy. Because I've raised a lot of dogs at this point in my life, and I figured I could do a couple of little things for our club. So GoPro is one thing that I was seriously considering. Oh, that's too bad, Honora. I'm sorry. You know you have all our sympathies. I spent like I spent about a year in that zone with Kiri, the we don't know how long she has left zone. So I know it wears on you. You would watch an video on puppy training? Awesome. Well, you guys can be some of our first viewers on our new channel then once we get it set up. Alrighty, but yeah, I figure it'll be good I can address all the little things, like when they turn into little sharks when they're teething. Alright, please stretch, everybody. Quick stretch. Just a little bit of something to make your spine move. You don't have to do it until you feel your chest crack, but you know, that's a bonus if it does. Time to stretch and snuggle your pet. You can do both. You can stretch and snuggle. Stretch and snuggle. Stretch and tell them what a good boy, girl, cat, dog they are. Hey, puppy cam idea? Yeah. It'll be a thing. I'm gonna be so in love with this puppy that you guys will be lucky. Like, there'll be a time when you're gonna be like, no more puppy stuff. Oh, yeah, it's hard not to worry in advance, Kerniko. I'm a horrible worrier, too. I'm gonna do a quick floor stretch, guys, and then we'll come back and finish up these scales. Alrighty. Ah. There we go. Hydrate. Yeah. No room to stretch. There's a boat. Ah, dear. Oh, your remote. You have a cam. Oh boy. puppy saturation is the way to go. Full saturation? Yeah, you bet. You bet. Yeah, I'm looking forward to just having one animal again. Having an animal again. It was funny, my ex texted me yesterday with, because he's in a horrible quandary where a dog that looks like Kiri just showed up on their local animal shelter listing. And a German Shepherd or GSD mix that had Kiri's markings. And he was like, he's supposed to be ready to go back to, like, you know, traveling for work sometime, but they haven't really defined when. And I'm like, oh, you totally need to get the puppy exception. You need to give in and accidentally adopt that dog that looks like Kiri, and then tell them, oops, I guess I can't travel for work. You're just gonna have to keep me remote. I would totally do that. You know, I'd rather outlive all my animals because, you know, otherwise you have to worry about them, what happens to them after you're gone. We had an acquaintance who, when she got older, switched from having her own animals to becoming an in-home pet sitter. So she still gets her dose of awesome cats and doggies, but she doesn't have to worry so much. There we go. I do a line wherever there's going to be a deeper shadow. So yeah, when you get that overhang there, that's where I put the shadow. And that, when you put the highlight out to the edge of the scale, then it makes them all stand out nicely. So I went in Pirates and used my Kraken ink, this dark purple here, to line all the scales beforehand, because when you're working with little scales like this, it gets very hard to go back in and shade after the fact without risking going over some of your work. Yeah, get paid to cuddle cats and dogs all day. You're in the wrong business. Exactly, Gallifire. Yeah, when you've got kids and they love your animals, that makes it, that's a big difference. That's a nice thing to have. Yeah, and cats, our cats have always lived a pretty long time. I think the youngest I had a cat pass was 15. Our old cat that we had when I was a kid, I think lived to 22. Oh, Avrilina, that's hilarious. All right, got a bit, that looks pretty good. I think I need to bring in a little more red down here, blend that in a little bit better, and hit the edge of that scale. Oh boy. So many scales. So this is why, I've said this before, this is why you don't see like really good miniature painters like paint dragons usually. It's like so many scales. You do every once in a while, and then you hear them complain about it and how much they regret it. It's just so much work. And it's monotonous. Like, this is why I say I won't paint a big dragon on the stream. Because it just gets really boring. All y'all get to sit and stare at me paint scales day after day after day. Even if I do the fast techniques, you still have to do a bit of work on them to bring out all those details. I would say fortunately you can't dye a black cat pink. Alrighty, there we go. That looks good. I'm gonna go out onto these scales now. So let's see here. Do I need to go back in and shade a little bit? I probably should. I did some original Kraken ink shading here, but I don't think I actually partitioned the scales, so I should probably do that. I do not use washes, pirates. Yeah, exactly. I stopped using washes a long time ago when I realized it really wasn't saving me any time. Because I had to go back over the top of everything to clean it up, and it changed because it had changed the color. Because even the best wash is going to darken the color a little bit. And I didn't really like that, and it didn't save me any time at all, which is what washes were supposed to do, so I just decided that I would start painting in shadows. Here on these scales, they're so shallow that I'm really just lining. But yeah, all of my other stuff, like, Ms. Headless Halfling here, she does have a head, but all the shading on her is all painted on. I don't do washes or anything. When I find a newer painter who's trying to get better and they complain about washes because their friends told them that's the way they have to learn, that's when I'm pretty much like, no, just start painting on your shadows. Doing it by hand. Which is pretty much layering, is the name of the technique. Unless you're doing it wet into wet. That when you're just layering one color over another, that's layering. And if you know layering, and then you figure out glazing, which is using really thin paint washes to kind of adjust things, then you have pretty much the core techniques to do anything you want to with miniatures. Layering and glazing between them enable you to do a ton. After that, all you need to do is start working on your brush control and your paint consistency knowledge, and you'll be able to paint anything you want, any way you want it. Hello, Writing Life. Hello, new person. Welcome. Thanks. It's cool. I like giving beginner tips, too. I like teaching beginners Writing Life. I am also an aspiring writer, so high five. Yeah, so if you have any beginner questions, feel free, because that's what I'm here for. This is the Reaper stream, so we paint Reaper models. We do a different one every day. We've got a 6-model rotation. And I'm here pretty much every morning, starting at USA Central Time, 11:30. And we do about an hour and a half. So I've got about 10 minutes left. But I am happy to answer any questions you have as a beginner. And don't be shy, because, you know, any question that you're thinking of asking, somebody else in the chat is probably also thinking of asking and just hasn't been brave enough to do it. So feel free. Once you get your paint consistency right, Gray Mouser, blending just goes. Like I was saying, is like, since this Kraken ink is very close in color to the mahogany brown, the red color that I'm using, I don't really even need to thin it very much to get a blended effect. So once you start to get a gut feel for that sort of thing, and the way to get it is just to paint. The way to get kind of a gut feel for highlighting and shading and how much you need to thin the paint is just painting. Painting and experimenting. You can learn really fast if you spend some active learning time, like experimenting and noting your results. Like, if you really set out to learn, you can learn a lot faster. But otherwise, if you just want to relax and just kind of absorb it slowly, then you can do that too. And either way, you'll end up at the same place. It'll just take you longer if you're not actively learning, but there's nothing wrong with that. Yep, Reaper miniatures. Wyvern. I don't have a Reaper branded. Oh no, I have no Reaper branded anything. Oops. Wait, yes I do. I have paint. Reaper's the company I work for. Reaper. Ta-da! And I've worked for them for 18 years. And Reaper produces miniatures for role-playing games, including Dungeons and Dragons, or at least miniatures that you can use in role-playing games like Dungeons and Dragons. So character minis and monsters. We also do a little bit of future sci-fi and cyberpunk in our Chronoscope line. And we do some models for Pathfinder, the role-playing game. And we have a paint line that I created and was pretty much in charge of mixing every batch of until I moved out to the West Coast last year. And now I just do streaming for Reaper. Oh, lunch! The disapproving hand. Oh no, Crows and Bones. That's hilarious. Yeah, there you go. Quinty gave us the Reaper. reapermini.com is... Pirates, this is just a really high quality brush. Since we're getting close to the end, I can take a little bit of a break and say, alright, so brushes are not obviously all created equal, and if you have a lower quality sable or a more synthetic brush, like this one on the left is more of a lower quality sable. It kind of, you can see the tip just doesn't want to quite hold together. The one on the right is a lower quality sable. This is like a Winsor & Newton watercolor sable. This on the left is the highest grade of red sable. It's called Kolinsky sable. So those will always have Kolinsky there on the barrel. And this in particular is the Da Vinci brand, which is a really, really good brand. Kolinsky sables are watercolor brushes, but they work really, really well for miniature painting because we usually are using thinned paint, and our paints tend to be thinner than tube paints just out the gate. So watercolor brushes are really kind of the brush to use in miniature painting. They are not cheap. But these Kolinskys are pretty much grade 1 and grade 2 red sables. They're the top two grades. You're usually going to pay between $10 and $20 a brush depending on the size and where you're getting it. A lot of stores will do discounting. There are many different brands to choose from, all of which have like a couple of different types of brushes, like round or like a shorter miniatures round or things like that. They'll have different shapes of brush. But yeah, that's why it keeps a good point, is because it's a good brush out the gate. You do get what you pay for with brushes. If you pay for a $5 brush, you're going to get a $5 brush, and it's going to fall apart and not hold a great tip and, you know, be good for some things. Or if it's a synthetic brush, it's going to slowly, like, curve over at the tip, right? like they do. Do I have a synthetic? The only synthetic I have is my flat that I use for terrain, but you'll get the kind of the poof, and you'll get kind of that fuzzy look at the top, and the bristles will start to curve a little bit. You get a little tiny hook at the end of your brush. That's a synthetic, and what that is these bristles are plastic. So as they wear, they're going to curve and fray at the end. That's the way that plastic works. They're trying and experimenting with some better synthetics now, and they last a little longer, but it's still a brush that's a bit cheaper and not going to have the shelf life. But so I use a selection. Here's an example, and I've been doing this lately because I just got, when I talk about brush shape, the two on the end are what I call standard round, or they're a slimmer brush. They're still a round brush with a really good tip. Then this one next to them is what I call an extra pointed round. Can you see how skinny the tip gets toward the end, whereas these are a little bit, a little bit wider. So this is an extra pointed round, and then there's a full body round. And you can see at this one, if you look at, and really it's the tip that's the difference. So if you cover up the brush, you can see the tip difference. The extra pointed round is really skinny, and the normal round is moderate. And then the really full belly round is more like a wedge-shaped brush when it comes to the tip, right? So yeah. So those are kind of like the different shapes you can get. This is a Raphael. Actually, both of my bigger brushes are Raphaels, but they're different series. So their pointed round is an 8408, and their full-bellied round is 8404. I like Raphaels for bigger brushes. And then these guys are, my littler brushes are Da Vinci, which is one of the other brands that I really like. And it's a number 1 and a triple aught, so a 000 is the little tiny one. And the little tiny one, that's as little as I get. I don't use anything smaller than that. Oh yeah, liner brushes, if you'll forgive me, are pretty useless. The thinnest you want is these guys. Anything thinner isn't going to carry enough paint. It's not going to keep it wet for long enough. And it's not going to have enough snap to really allow you to do fine detail. They're really good if you're doing canvas for like whiskers or really long swooping lines. Then yeah. But on miniatures, I find they are really just not useful. You can get an equivalent line out of one of these, and it holds more paint, and your paint won't dry in it right away. And you can control it better. So, my opinion only. Apparently you can recurve synthetics, but I'd rather just spend the extra $10 and get a brush that I never have to worry about recurving that lasts me for like 5 years. Which is the other difference. You are paying a lot more for a good brush, but if you do not leave it nose down in your paint water, and you do not dip it all into paint and let paint build up in the ferrule, these brushes will last you for years. Like, when I was painting full-time every day, like over 40 hours a week, I would run through one of these, like wear it out in 6 months. But that's like 50 hours a week of painting, like every week for years, right? So they are really resilient brushes. And I take crappy care of my brushes. So as a better painter, a better brush carer would have gotten maybe, a year or a year and a half of life out of their brush. So yeah, it's up to you guys. If you really like synthetics and you like the stiffness of the bristle, because that is different. The sable does have a softer hair. Yes, sure, I mean, reshape or try to, get the most out of your brushes. But do keep in mind that part of the advantage of a really good natural hair brush is it will age very well. It will last for a very, very long time. So yeah, so that's my manifesto on brushes. Ta-da! We're pretty good. Actually, we're pretty much... Core paint box, though, if it's like... Yeah, if it's... I don't know what a core paint box is, though, Henry. So if it's a learn to paint kit, then you should get instructions. If it's not a learn to paint kit and it's just a box of paint, then I don't know if we put anything in those. All right, so we're probably out of time. Yeah, pretty much. If you take good care of it, it should last a long time, Gallifire. Like, I have really good brushes that I had from college 30 years ago that, that are still good. So, now, I haven't been using my big brushes a lot, but still, like, they're fine. So, yeah, yep, you're in trouble, Crows. The pirate ship is huge. Sorry. You're just gonna have to take out your refrigerator and put your pirate ship there. Wall mounted. With magnets. Play on it with magnets. Yeah, if it was a learn to paint kit, yeah, you should get instructions. So just contact customer service. Thanks, Henry. Thanks for asking. All right, so what we did today is we almost finished all of our scales. Yay, our scales. Our scales are almost totally done. We just need to do this little arm and the interior parts down here. I've already highlighted this paw here, so we're pretty good there. And then our wyvern scales will be complete. All we need to do is finish up the claws and the spines on this side of the tail, decide what color we're going to go with our little venomous addition here, and do the base. Yay! I'm happy with him. I'm really happy with him. He's pretty cool for a wyvern, I gotta say. He's turned out great. I like him a lot. I like his stripes. Glad we decided to do stripey wings. So cool. Thanks, everybody. Do we have a... Let's see. What are we? We're Wednesday. Isn't that... is that the terrain show? What show is that? Yeah, 2 p.m. for Brian Wynn Studios presents... Oh, it's Miniatures Dance. Luca. It's the Alpaca Nation invading Reaper. Got it. So yes, totally come back to see Luca paint at 2 p.m. USA Central Time. He has a much different style than I do, and he does things a lot differently. So hopefully y'all have fun. Thank you for the compliments on Mr. Wyvern. Tomorrow we are back on the Half-Orc Wizard, and we're going to be working on basing. So I'll probably be doing some cork and some sculpting with green stuff tomorrow, guys. All right? You guys have a fantastic day. It is halfway through the week. Hang in there if you've not been having a great one. Everybody else, I hope you have a fantastic day. We'll see you tomorrow.